Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the Amanda Manigault Beauty and Business Talk Show. It is indeed a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege to be able to greet you again today. And we have a wonderful, packed show, you guys. When I say packed, we have a packed show. And so we're going to have a wonderful time today. I want you guys to sit back and relax. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend that the Amanda Manigault Beauty and Business Talk Show is on the air right now. Post in the comments. Tell me where you're watching the show from. Tell me where you're from, what city you're in, what you do. Tell me your name, and just put a little bit in there about you, because guess what? We're going to have an amazing show today. We're going to have some dialogue. We have with us today, we have Joe Dudley Jr., and guess what he is? He is the $1 million Black business strategist. And so guess what? We are going to have a wonderful time, because y'all know what this is. This is Black Girl Beauty. And so normally we have all these beautiful women on our show, and we're doing all these exciting and wonderful women things and these little girly things. But tonight we have a very special guest, and he is bringing the tea, you guys. He is spilling all the tea. He's going to give us 3 business tips, and then we're going to learn some things about him. He's going to talk about how he got started, about his family, the background, and all of that good stuff. He's going to give us all the juice, and then he's going to tell us about the Dudley Eagles Mastermind Group. Did y'all hear me? The Dudley's Eagles Mastermind Group. And many of you may not be aware, you may not know about that, but guess what? You're going to learn about that tonight. Again, I am Black Girl Beauty Coach Amanda Manigault, and we're going to also go into some mental health, you guys. He has an amazing event coming up that he's going to share with you guys. He has Courtney B. Vance. I repeat, he has Courtney B. Vance coming on the show. So guess what? We have some experts on the show tonight. Some experts that are experts in mental health. And I'm going to bring them on. And guess what? They are 2 doctors. Absolutely. I repeat, 2 young, beautiful doctors. Now, y'all know I had to bring in some Black Girl Beauty tonight, right? I couldn't let Joe have the show all by himself. But hey, guess what? It's going to all tie in together. So before we bring on our guests, y'all know I have to go into a little bit of history about Black Girl Beauty, where we come from and where we're going. For those of you who do not know, guess what? This year, we are celebrating 45 years. 45 years, you guys, that we have been a part of the beauty industry. And what's amazing about that is I became a part of the Dudley family early in my career. So what I want to just touch on a little bit is about who are you watching? Who are you listening to? Who's mentoring you? And I want to talk about that because early in my career, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have professional people in my life that I can go to and ask questions about business or about beauty or about finances and all of that good stuff. Now, I love my parents. Y'all know my father was a minister. I come from a Christian family. I have a history of singers in my family, preachers, ministers, all of that good stuff. But for those of you who don't know, both of my parents had no more than an 8th grade education. And I like to share that with you guys because at a very early age, I had to read for them and I had to open their mail and do a lot of good stuff. And that's okay because guess what? I consider that a part of who I am today. And that made me an expert at figuring things out. That's one of my strengths. And so as I began to run my business, I had to figure out, how do I do this and how do I do that? Because honestly, I just did not know. And so one day, I was in the salon because I started in my parents' basement at the age of 11 years old as a hair braider. And so as I'm braiding hair, I built this clientele. even as a young girl, I was doing hair all through the neighborhood, braiding hair through the neighborhood. And so as I began to do that, I paid for my high school, everything I had to pay for. I helped my parents at a young age. I was able to do that. And I went to my uncle's house and I took over his whole kitchen, his whole first floor in his house. Rest in peace, Uncle Brig, because I took over his whole house and I built a business in his home at that time. And this was right after high school. Excuse me. And so while I was doing that, one day this lady walked in I call it my salon, because yes, I told y'all 45 years. So I'm counting those early years. I was in my salon and this lady walked in there and she told me that, she said, I don't normally do this. She had these products and she was selling these products. She said, I don't go to people's house. She said, that's not what we do with the company that I work for. She said, but I heard about you. She said, and I had to come see you because from what I heard, I believe that you're going to be out of this house soon. And she said, so I want to introduce you to these products. And she introduced me to Dudley hair care products. And I tell you guys, no lie, I have used Dudley products my entire career up until about a few years ago when Black Girl Beauty Products was invented. And I'm gonna tell you, if it wasn't for Dudley products, if it wasn't for me going to see all that I saw at DCU and becoming an ambassador for DCU, I don't know if I would have a school today, you guys. I always dreamed about it, but I had no direction. So the advice that I would like to give young people is find a mentor, find somebody that you look up to, some company. You know, they got Google now. You can find anybody you want to find. I was fortunate enough to find Dudley Beauty Products, Dudley Cosmetology University, and I was fortunate enough to even work there as an instructor once upon a time in my career. But I want to bring someone on tonight, and this is a surprise. I want to bring someone on that introduced me to Dudley Hair Care Products. Hey there!
Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
How are you, Ben?
Very good.
And is Belinda here?
Belinda, unfortunately, is not with us. So she had a meeting. She had to attend this evening with the church. So she's not with us, but she put me in place for her.
Put you in place. Well, your wife walked into my house. She said that she heard about me. Yeah. And she said, and she introduced me to Dudley Products, and she stayed on me about attending DCU. Absolutely. And so then I met you, so if it wasn't Belinda coming in, it was Ben coming in. Absolutely. And I invited you guys here tonight because the first thing I want to say is thank you. Because as you can see, we have the $1 million Black business strategist on here tonight. So, and he's going to bring the tea to us. And you know him personally because I had no idea about the little best man thing. I had no idea about that. So, hey, Ben, tell us a little bit about you and how you, became a Dudley man, because you was truly, when I met you guys and you guys turned me on to Dudleys, I mean, I was amazed when I went down there. I actually could not believe I never saw that many Black men together. I never saw that many Black women together. And so I wanted to bring you on before we bring in our special guest, the $1 million Black business strategist. Before we bring in, maybe you know how he became the $1 million Black business strategist. I don't know. Can you tell us something?
He is definitely an entrepreneur from the heart. He was raised that way. He's grounded that way. Me and Joe had a chance to meet at a very, very young age. I started with Dudley Products through my mom at the age of 8 years old. Wow. So me and Joe was hanging partners. At 8 years old, I was a door-to-door salesperson. We used to have meetings, wonderful meetings that I always wanted to be a part of. So that's how I really got started with Dudley Products. It's as a door-to-door salesperson. many blue moons ago, and I've never lost my way. My foundation has always been with Dudley Products. Mr. Dudley is by far a jewel, a mentor, just world-renowned man, and I am just so grateful to be a part of it. I actually found my wife in Dudley Products.
Wow.
That was Belinda Adams, who was your first sales consultant that actually came through to your home. And you was right. She was not supposed to be in the home, but we got to find out why she's in the homes. But she's a go-getter. She really wanted to be a part of this evening. And we are currently running a business here called the B. Adams Corporation. And what we do is consult beauty, consulting with professional licensed cosmetologists and barbers. We also distribute a hair care product. We have our current line that's out. That's called Level Up Hair Care. We stayed in the family. We're keeping it all in the family from our foundation, which was Dudley Products. And yes, you're right. Joe Jr. just happened to be my best man.
Wow.
It's absolutely interesting. When I received the message about that, I was like, oh yeah, he was my best man. Of course I know that.
Well,
so,
I
am
guy,
wonderful guy.
Wow. So what, if there's one word that you could share, because we're Black Girl Beauty, we talk about beauty and we talk about business. And before we bring Joe on, you've been in the beauty industry. You have your own product line now. You came from this big family of the Dudley family, because 8 years old, my God. So that you're still a Dudley guy always. So what can you tell this younger generation tonight? If there's one thing that you can share, because I told them we're going to give them 3 tips tonight. I want you to give a tip tonight. What can you tell them about how to succeed in today's time? It's 2023. It's a new world out here. What can you share with them?
Well, I'm a living witness to this, and that's persistent. Being persistent is the key word for me. Every day, having something to do that must get done. Grinding, driving. Committing, making a commitment. But my key word would definitely be persistent. You got to stick to the task when your heart is hit. It's when things go wrong that you mustn't quit. So I love the
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love the fact that those things were instilled into me at a very young age. Mr. Dudley has just automatically been a grinder, and he didn't only preach it, but he walked it as well. He didn't talk it, but he didn't just talk it, but he also walked it as well. So that's where we get the foundation from. It's being persistent.
And as you go through your career and you're building your own product line now, because I saw what was going on there at Dudley's. Yes. And I saw you and Belinda like right in the mix. So Absolutely. As you go through your career, you can't avoid talking about Mr. Dudley everywhere you go, because Absolutely. He's a part of your foundation. And so I just think that's an amazing thing. And I just want to thank you. And I want you to hang on for a moment before we bring Joe in. So I want you to, be able to say hello, because I know he's surprised. He did not expect you to be on here tonight. But, I'm Black Girl Beauty Coach Amanda Manigault, and I love surprises. I really do.
You do.
But if you're just now tuning in, I want you to tell a neighbor, tell a friend that the Amanda Manigault Beauty and Business Show is on the air right now. And we have none other than Ben Adams, originally from Dudley Products. And then we have the $1 Million Black Business Strategist here with us tonight. And I know many of you want to know, who is this $1 Million Black Business Strategist and what does he do? Well, I'm going to bring him on in a moment, but I want you guys to take the time to like, share, post your comments, tell me where you're from, where you're tuning in from. And I want to say hey to Paula, who's watching. And Miss Sybil, thank you for joining us, Miss Sybil. Miss Sybil is a beauty school owner right here in Georgia. And hey, thanks, Sybil. And Sybil was actually at one of our business conferences, Joe, when you came to Atlanta. And so I want to say hello to Karen. Thank you. I'm glad that you're excited. Thanks for joining us tonight. Donna from Harrisburg. She's a hairstylist. Donna, thank you for joining us tonight. Sybil is from Thomasville, Georgia. and she has a beauty school there. So you have to put the name of your school in there as well. We have these beauty professionals on here. Why? Because we have the $1 million Black business strategist with us tonight, and he's going to talk about Courtney B. Vance. I mean, he got some amazing things coming on. So I'm not going to hold you guys up because we have a packed show. So Ben, I'm going to let you greet Mr. Joe Dudley Jr. Welcome.
What's going on, my friend?
Well, hello there. How you doing, brother Ben?
Absolutely wonderful. It's so good to see you, man.
Indeed, indeed. Well, thank you, Amanda. This is definitely a wonderful surprise. Glad to have been here. As you shared, we both met up when we were both 8 years old, working in Dudley Products, and being a part of the sales environment and seeing all the exciting things that the family was doing. So Ben was definitely part of a big family that joined Dudley Products. We had over 8 different families that had 4 or 5 more members in at the same time. And Ben has definitely been one of them. And that brought great strength to our organization. And he's been a great example of that, growing, developing, learning, and continue on his own, being an entrepreneur and making things happen and continuing to give opportunities to others, because that is our foundation. We want to have more strong businesses in our community. And to be able to have that, you got to have strong leaders and people who are willing to take the risk and willing to put themselves out there. And so Ben and I come along at the same time. In fact, we're only separated by 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Our birthdays are 3 weeks apart, in the same age and year. So that certainly is great. And I was happy to be his best man. He had a chance to grab Belinda, his wonderful wife, before I even had a chance to think about it. Well, I saw he just swooped right in. Good for you, Ben. And I'm glad to see the two of y'all being happy and moving forward. So fortunate time. Great having you as a great friend to doing so. So to have you here to welcome me is such a plus. So thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate you.
Having you. Feel free to hang around because, hey, some of these questions you may be able to dialogue with. But Joe, if you can tell us a little bit about how you got started. I know your parents, Joe, started this amazing company. But tonight, this is your floor, Joe. This is your floor. I'm giving you have the show tonight. And I want you to spill the tea because I have some people watching that they want to know how you're still around, how the Dudley family is still around. How many years has it been?
We just celebrated our 56th anniversary of my parents starting the company. And so that's absolutely amazing. And I've been there every step of the way. Started off as very young. In fact, my parents met selling products door to door for Fuller Products in Brooklyn, New York, back in 1960. And a year later, they got married. And a couple of years later, they had me. And a few years later after that, they had my sister Ursula. And once I was about to turn 4, we moved from Brooklyn, New York to Greensboro, North Carolina, because my parents had their own Fuller Products distributorship in Greensboro. And they did that for several years. And in that time, Fuller Products were having a few challenges providing products. So we started making products on the kitchen stove. My father had a 55-gallon drum where we were mixing up Scout Special. He had an ore that he was doing that on and melting it and mixing it. My mother would type up the labels. And then myself and Ursula would actually put the labels and the caps on the jars. And then the salespeople, and we did that at night, and the salespeople sold it the next day. So that was a firsthand learning experience doing that when I was only, 7 years old. So that was great. And more importantly, my parents put me to work. At age 5, my mother had me doing inventory, counting the inventory of products at age 5 with her. And at age 7, working behind our counter, we had beauty and barber supply stores like Sally's. We had over 14 of them. And I had a chance to work behind them after school or mostly on the weekends. And people would wonder and ask my mother, who's that little midget that's standing behind the counter that's asking me for my license to put on the back of my check? That's how we did it back in those days. And said, no, midget, that's my son. And so I learned how to do that. In fact, they always had me working, cleaning up the bathroom, sweeping up the hair from the rugs because we sold wigs and he did a lot of hair cutting. So my parents put me to work. And finally, at age 10, I had a chance to go door to door because I said, hey, I'm ready to do this. And so I went out with our salespeople and sold products door to door. One would be on one side of the street, I would be on the other side. And that was a great experience in building and growing. In fact, my parents stopped giving me an allowance at age 10, and I had to earn my own money for lunch and other expenses by selling products door to door. And so that was great. And by age 12, there came out a national competition for Fuller products for junior salespeople. And these are salespeople who are 18 and under. And so for a whole year, Ben and I competed with maybe 50 other young salespeople across the country. And I was determined. To win that prize. So that meant every Saturday, whether it was cold, whether it was raining, whether it was everything, I had to be out there so I could get my goal and help build it. And so Ben and I were, neck and neck until finally his sister came on board. And his sister we were 12, she was like 17. And, when you older, the game better. And she was racking it up and building and selling. And oh my goodness, the competition was intense. And so finally, I didn't know whether I was going to win or not. I was ranking, but she was coming on strong. And man, at one point, it almost seemed like she was going to leap over me. And it was super close. And so eventually, I believe Ben came in third place. And then his sister came in second place. And fortunately, I came in first place only by about $70. And that was after a whole year of selling. So it was a great learning experience to know what it is to compete, to put your mind on a prize and work hard to do it and not let something stop you. And, and so those were great learning experiences I had growing up in the family business. Eventually, I started working in the office, learned accounting, learned many other things, and went to, finished high school. By that time, we had moved to Chicago, and I went to undergrad at Northwestern. I got my economics degree, and then I continued on to get my MBA in marketing and finance. And so I was able to start in the business full time at age 22. And so I worked in the office, helping to put our marketing team together, put our accounting team together, as well as our computer system together as well. And so actually Ben was doing many of those same things, but he was out in the field representing the business, talking to customers firsthand. And so, of course, everybody out in the field says, oh, we want to be in the office. But they had no idea what you had to do to be in the office. And then, of course, they would complain, y'all didn't do this. Y'all behind on this. You didn't get my products on time. You didn't do those things because we didn't have enough people. And we weren't I'm not saying we weren't the best organized. We were organized and we were getting things done. It just wasn't as perfect as you want. And then trying to convince my father, allow us to hire more people so that we can take care of the salespeople in the field. So my father is a master salesperson. And so he cared about the salespeople, but he didn't care about anything in the office. And would, and tie our hands to do it. And say, we need to do this to take care of the salespeople. But he's like, figure out another way to do it. So, it was a long, hard road, but it was very rewarding. And so I had committed myself to be a part of the family business to help it build and grow and be able to see these dynamic people who were engaging and supporting and wanting to help professional cosmetologists, because that became our tagline, in partnership with the professional cosmetologists, because we develop our own line of hair care products. And we decided that we didn't want to sell it to retail stores or beauty supply houses. We wanted to be able to give great people like Ben's family and Ben himself to be able to be top performers and top salespeople across the country so that they can make money for themselves and not have their hands tied. And so that was a beautiful thing. In fact, Ben was one of our top salespeople year after year after year, no question about it. And so it was amazing to see his persistence determination and courage in order to make those happen. And of course, he was super well known throughout the whole Baltimore, Maryland area. And indeed, he was known as Mr. Dudley in those arenas. So that part was great and fun. So it was just encouraging. So, not everybody had the advantage to see us when we had less than 100 people in the business, but Ben was part of that, and just to see us grow. And it took us many years before we were able to break out. So when I came on board full time, we had 150 employees, and was able and doing about $5 million. And then we built up to over 600 employees at 35 million. And so that was able to be on the inside and help do that, select our salespeople, select the rest of the team. So I just got a great experience learning about all these different things, trying to put good things in practice, trying to make great things help, because we knew the impact that we could make. The impact on our community by giving people an opportunity to have something that they can call on their own, that they didn't have to compete with retail stores or beauty supply houses in order to do that. And so we love living our mission in it. And eventually that occurred to building up Dudley Cosmetology University, where we had over 16,000 hairstylists from across the U.S. and internationally to come in and learn the latest in hair cutting, hairstyling, as well as the use of our products. And so that was just an absolutely amazing experience. And that was an outgrowth of doing some of the hairstyle books that we came out. We won the first in the Black hair care industry to have our own brand name hairstyle books. You see two of them here behind me, and I was fortunate to lead that process to make that happen. So it was just a dynamic experience, just seeing how we were able to give credibility to the industry, confidence to people in the industry, to let them know they can do more, they can be more, and to be able to feel like they had a company who believed in them, and that's what we were standing for.
Wow. And that's amazing, because I remember that clearly. I remember seeing that. And like I said, when I was young, I didn't, I had to go find that. And I was able to find that through Ben and Belinda. So that's amazing, Joe. So we have a question. Someone wants to know, Paula wants to know, what is the greatest obstacle that you've had to overcome as an entrepreneur of color?
That is a wonderful question. I'm not sure I actually know the answer. I've been fortunate to grow up, in Black communities all the time and see Black business succeed. And so I haven't run into a lot of situations where people question what we were doing based because of our color. We chose to be able to serve our people directly. And so we didn't deal with certain problems or trying to go to the other side to ask them to do business with us. We never really did that. We chose to serve our own business, and people are always welcome for that. We chose professionalism, commitment, and responsibility for what we were doing, because those are essential characteristics to be an entrepreneur that people believed in. And so we just decided to serve our own people. Now, we did get a chance to get opportunities with some chain salons such as JCPenney and a few other people. And the truth is, we didn't approach them, they approached us, because their customer, their stylists in their salon say, hey, get us some Dudley products. People want Dudley products in the salon. They will only carry 2 lines at a time. And so they came to us and they wanted to make sure we had a complete effort, making sure that we would come in and train their stylists on use of our products, et cetera. But it took 2 years. It took 2 years before they finally said yes to us. But that's just their process. So now something comes to my mind as in terms of, okay, color, when it does become a challenge, was trying to get capital, trying to go to banks and try to get capital from them. And so was it because of our color? It could have been to some degree, but we actually had people who helped us many times to get money, but we really didn't have banks to treat us right until we finally got to $10 million in business. So every time before that, it was always a struggle. And then they would tie our hands. They would give us money, but they would tie our hands in terms of how we had to perform and how we do. And it would take, months, before we could get money. So that probably was more the challenge in terms of getting people to respect us in the finance world, but that's true across the board for any business. And so, like I said, it took us 20 years of being in business and finally getting to 10 million before they treated us the right way. And so that's a function of size and probably some more color. But since we were professional and since we showed that we knew what we were doing and we had people following us and people who believed in us, really that opened the door for us in many ways that doesn't open the doors for everybody else. And so I have other things I would share about that. Part of that is the kind of network that you build. So let this be the business tip that I offer. It is based on the network that you build, whether that opens doors for you or not. And so, that's the key challenge that you have. And if you don't bring all of the knowledge to the table, you got to partner with people who can bring that knowledge to the table and help open doors for you. And you got to be open to listen to that. What I share, especially with our group, the Dudley Eagles Mastermind meeting, your net worth is equal to the quality and depth of your network. If your network is small, your net worth is going to be small. And it's all about who you associate with. What researchers have found out that is typically your net worth is equal to the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. Your net worth is equal to the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you are the person who makes the most money in your network, you're not positioning yourself to grow higher or to do better because you're not exposing yourself to the knowledge and to the ambitions of what it takes in order to build and grow. You're just in a settled situation. But if you are hungry, you want to be in environments where people will allow you to be able to learn from them. And that's about having a strong network that you can be a part of.
Wow, that's amazing, Joe. And that's absolutely the truth. You have to be in a strong network. And that's why he has the group, Dudley Eagles Mastermind Group. And we're going to touch on that. Joe, you have some information. It's 8:30. And before because we have an event that we have to get to, that we have to talk about. And before we do that, if you're just now tuning in, make sure you post your comment in the comment. We do have some more comments and we're going to get to them in a second. But make sure you post. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend that the Black Girl Beauty Amanda Manigault Beauty and Business Talk Show is on the air right now. Tell them, share, post, and share it with anyone because we have some exciting information. So I want you guys to stay tuned. And I'm going to bring Joe back up because he has some material that he would like to share. If we can put that information on the screen, and he'll get ready for that. And then we are going to bring on our experts because while she's getting that ready, that's what we're going to do. Joe, can you talk about for a second while the information is coming to the screen? Can you talk about this event here? For a second. Okay, it's up on the screen now, so you can go ahead.
All right, fine. Fantastic. Great. So I'd love to be able to share a little bit more. Some things we touched on already. As Amanda says, Joe Dudley Jr. My team decided to call me the $1 Million Black Business Strategist. And so that's a reflection of being able to talk to people who really want to build $1 million business or more. I'm fortunate to be a second generation entrepreneur. So I've had a chance to be exposed to learn what it takes and what's possible. And I get a chance for some of you have been exposed to the world of Dudley's here with my parents, Joe and Eunice Dudley, who started the company back in 1967. So that's over 56 years of moving the business forward, sharing with what we've done in terms of DCU and other things. And we decided to sell our products directly to beauty salons and our people in the field go to salon to salon as opposed to going to retail stores or beauty supply houses. We were fortunate to be featured in Chris Rock's documentary, Good Hair. And this is Chris here in our manufacturing plant, being see how products are being made. And this is Chris here with myself and my father. And he got a chance to be able to see a lot of people who attended our DCU program and be involved. So it's a great program. Check it out. Some of you might remember it. And this is a book that I've written called What's My E-Style? Discover your entrepreneurial personality for outstanding business success. In it, I identify 9 different entrepreneurial personality types, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, your approach to work. and how you and what success can you achieve and figure out in terms of your business. Because I've discovered when you are in a business that doesn't complement who you are, you're destined to lose money, energy, and time. But when you're a business that truly fits your entrepreneurial personality, you'll increase your success by over 500%. In terms of what I do today, I help business owners get unstuck and regain their momentum to move forward to build and grow their business. I also help business owners finance their $1 million projects. And so, what's a $1 million project? It's critical all of us to learn how to secure capital for your business and how to move forward. I choose to focus on $1 million projects. One, because believe it or not, it's easier to get money when it's larger versus than it's smaller. One such example is I help create feasibility studies for business owners. This one is for $8 million project for a client who's building a 30 unit apartment complex in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, with 5 retail units on the bottom. And so we have been able to get some gap funding from Winston-Salem State. We're getting a lender to give us $5.4 million, and then our developers have $400,000 that they can put into the project. So I'm able to help shape their vision and be able to craft it in a way where people with money are able to understand it and move forward. And I help them get the lending for that as well. Here's another feasibility study I did for a complex in Atlanta. That's a 15-unit building. It's a $4 million project, and I helped prepare that as well. And as a group, part of my give back, part of my responsibility is to be able to share with many people what does it take to create success in building a business. And so we have the Dudley Eagles Mastermind meeting. We host it on Sundays from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And indeed, this is for entrepreneurs who are ready to soar. There are many entrepreneurs who are solopreneurs or small business owners who don't get the access to understand what does it take to build their business, create and strong, and how to build your network. So we create a strong network here with our mastermind group. And in our networking, we're able to communicate with entrepreneurs who look like you, who face the same challenges as you do, who can be able to tell you how to overcome the obstacle that we collectively face. We talk about Black group economics. We speak about our unity is our wealth. And in terms of how we're able to pool our resources to create opportunities for ourselves and our family. Been fortunate to have some great speakers to come on board to speak, including Dr. Willie Jolly, who's a who's a Hall of Fame speaker and comeback expert. And he spoke about how to turn your setbacks into comebacks. And then we have R.J. Jackson, a professional speaker and executive life coach. She spoke about entrepreneur's reposition journey of greatness. Wonderful story from her. And then we had Christy Venable, who's the owner of a multi-million-dollar mental health business out of Washington, D.C. She spoke about living with no ceiling, expand your dreams, and develop the 7-figure mindset for unimaginable success. And she's built a multi-million-dollar healthcare business only at age 35. So I would love if many of you would come on board and join our email list and receive our invitation to our weekly mastermind meetings. Our weekly mastermind meetings are free, and they're on Zoom and held online. And if you join our email list, you'll get the links to be able to come to our meetings and hear some of our exciting guest speakers and hear about their inspirational story and their journey moving forward. And along with it, you get a 3-video set that comes with some great highlights that gets people to talk about. And this is a free gift for joining our list and get a chance to talk about mindset, strategy, and perseverance. And so love for you to be able to get that and get that video set and learn how to do that. I believe you're able to put that into the chat and put that in the link where people can be able to see that. So that would be great. And so love for you to be able to come one Sunday to be able to see our Dudley Eagles Mastermind group.
That is amazing. That is amazing, Joe. I had one question real quick before, if you can answer this for Donna. She is a business owner and she has 10 stylists in her salon. And so what she's saying is, what can you offer to her that she can offer to her stylists, because she gets the question all the time. They want to be like her. They say it to her all the time. I want to be like Miss Donna. And we know that's a popular thing, that, when you're running a business, most people, they see you, they want that same thing. What can she do, and how can she handle that? Is there any way you can answer that question for her?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mean, the most important thing is people got to be committed to the industry. They want to make this a career, because there are lots of great opportunity to be had. And so to become a successful salon owner, you have to learn how to be able to manage your staff. You've got to be able to learn how to deal with different personalities and be able to engage them in a way where they believe in you. They believe in you and willing to follow you, because you're able to set a great foundation. And so part of that is truly understanding who you are as a person, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and what are you willing to work on in your areas of development so that you can become an effective business owner. The truth is, our mindset dictates 80% of our success. And so you have to be able to be open to learn and grow on how to develop a business. And so you can't just walk into the salon, open the doors, and think customers are coming from you. You've got to be able to have staff who believe in you, believe in your leadership and your management to be able to create that success. And so we were fortunate to be able to was able to meet with a great salon out of Michigan. She has over 10 stylists as well. And we put together a workshop on personal development and leadership, so that people will understand what kind of attitude, but also skills that they needed to bring to the table so they can elevate themselves, run a successful business by building their own customer base, and learning what does it take to be able to run your own business. So it's investing in your people and allowing development to occur where you can grow, where you can achieve the next step. So it's not just getting somebody to believe in you and you open the doors that makes you have a great business. No, you've got to be able to import and create great personal development so that you have the skill set and the mindset to be able to create success.
Great answer. So there you have it, Donna. And as he mentioned earlier, the Dudley Eagles Mastermind group. You might want to join that group, Donna. They have some amazing speakers. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not one to sit in a Zoom or a podcast or any of that for 2 hours. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I might give you an hour, but I will tell you, I tuned into one of the shows that he had, and it kept me the whole 2 hours, literally the whole 2 hours. So I went back for some more, because see, I'm the type, hey, if I see some good information, I'm going back for some more. So you want to join in with Joe and join the Dudley Eagles Mastermind group, and bring your team, bring them, make them a part of it. So once you get connected with Joe and you find out more about that, you'll be able to learn more about what you need to do, whether you want to come in as one or find a way to create a system to bring your whole staff in there. So listen, it is 8:42, Joe. So we need to talk about this right here. What are you doing right now? What are you doing now? I'm hearing about Courtney B. Vance. Can you tell us what's going on so I could bring in these experts here?
Absolutely, no question. Well, as part of our Dudley Eagles program, we were fortunate to be able to have a guest speaker to come on who recommended our platform to Courtney B. Vance publicist. And Courtney B. Vance is bringing out a brand new book that was published here in November called The Invisible Ache. And it talks about dealing with Black male depression. And so he has written a book in combination with Dr. Robin L. Smith. You may have seen her on Oprah quite a bit. And in case you don't know who Courtney B. Vance, he's an amazing actor, has been acting for over 30 years. Some of you may have seen him on The People versus O.J. Simpson. He played Johnny Cochran, but he's also known as being the husband of Angela Bassett. And so he wrote this book, the two of them in combination, because of his unfortunate experience. When he was 30, his father died by suicide. And so that was a traumatic experience for him. And then 2 years ago, his own godson died by suicide as well. And so he reached out to Dr. Robin Smith, so to help and support his family, get his guidance and understanding. And he decided to go even deeper by writing this book, The Invisible Ache, helping Black men identify their pain and reclaiming their power. And so he's been on a book tour since the beginning of November, and his team decided to allow us to be able to promote this event. And they're giving us a 1-hour presentation, author talk, to talk about their program. And I decided to partner up with several mental health organizations to be able to share and be able to promote this great event. So that's coming up this coming Sunday, December 3rd at 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. And we would love for you to be able to register so you can be a part of this great program. I hope you're getting the link in the chat because we want to be able to have a strong turnout for this event. We're very blessed to be able to have them here and also to be able to have this conversation about Black male depression because it affects our community such a strong way and in ways we don't even realize or understand. And it's essential that we are able to recognize the challenges when it comes to Black male depression because we never know where it will go. Unfortunately, it occurred in my family just last year. My brother-in-law died by suicide at the beginning of last year, and that was a totally unexpected event. He had injured himself playing soccer, and he was off his feet for 6 months. And he also had a career change at the same time from going from IT to manufacturing. And it was a very different environment and setup. And he did not handle all that transition very well. I personally sat down with him and my sister. They had been married for 25 years. And he agreed to be able to go to a therapist to be able to listen. But unfortunately, he didn't open up well enough and unfortunately decided to take his life. And that was, very heartbreaking for all of us. Didn't see that coming, didn't see any of that. And we put our arms around him. And unfortunately, that still was not enough. So we all have had experiences of people that we know that we had experienced. But this is part of my motivation for being able to share the word and to get people involved because it's an important conversation to have about Black male depression. And our therapist here will share with you that unfortunately, 80% of the suicide are conducted by men. And that's a shame in terms of that. Other people, women will have many more attempts, but men, unfortunately, they do it in a much more violent way. And so it's important to be able to have this conversation. And I'm happy to be able to bring it to you so that we can be able to do it in a great way. So fortunate to have this experience, and I love to be able to share the conversation with you at this time.
Sorry to hear about your brother-in-law. I'm so sorry. What I have these two beautiful, they are my Black girl beauties today. They really are. Dr. Carla Sutton Moore and Dr. Ericka Pinckney. I don't know what to say. I read these resumes and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let them tell you who they are. I'm going to let them tell you what they do. So I'm going to start with Carla. You heard what he talked about mental health. You heard what he said about, and I'm sure you already know all this information about how it's affecting the Black community, how it's affecting our Black men. Carla, can you just tell me who you are? Tell the people who you are. Tell them about you a little bit. And then I want you to tell me why mental health? Why mental health? And what is it that we can look for? Because I feel responsible. I feel responsible for my family. I feel responsible for my community. I felt responsible to bring Joe on here so that we can put this out in the air. I see Ulysses Bower says this is excellent information for any entrepreneur. Thank you, Ulysses, for that information. And thank you, Deborah Jackson says suicide is real and the Black community is suffering in silence. Oh my God. Carla, I'm gonna let you have the floor.
Well, good evening. I am honored to be here and just contribute to this conversation that is very, very important. I'm actually duly licensed as a licensed professional counselor and a licensed psychologist. I have been doing this work for over 25 years. My specialty is trauma-based, trauma-informed work, clinical work. I work primarily now, currently, with public safety, but I've worked with children and families and adults for many, many years. When I say public safety, meaning law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, our first responders, military. That's my specialty because of, the work that comes with the trauma. But it's interesting that we're talking about just the Black community because, of course, in the years of Black Lives Matter and BLM, I had a lot of interface when it came to the Black community and law enforcement, which really was, kind of an interesting dynamic for me to be in, to really kind of talk about that interface. Mental health in the Black community at that time was on the rise a lot because of race-based trauma. A lot of things that we have seen and dealt with over the years, some which is we're very vocal about, but some which we just have not been able to articulate. Unfortunately, we hear these numbers all the time, and we talk about what we can do in the community to really support each other and be there for each other. Mr. Dudley was talking about, we wrapped ourselves around him. We did all we could that we knew to do in order to help people and lift them up. But interestingly enough, I think in our community, what happens is unfortunately, the stigma has caused people to really ask for help later than earlier. And so when you're talking about how to really embrace each other and help each other, I think part of that actually means that we have to create a culture of wellness when it comes to mental health in general. When we feel like we're sick physically, we don't wait until we're on our deathbed in order to get checked out. We normally get checked out early on, right? We actually make health and wellness a part of our routine and our regimen. We're starting to try to exercise more and to be mindful about what it takes to take care of our body when diabetes and cancer and things of that nature. However, we don't see mental health wellness in the same paradigm. And so a lot of my work that I do focuses on wellness and prevention. And I think changing the culture and the paradigm shift of what it means for Blacks to really focus on mental health wellness and self-care and what it means to take care of ourselves on the front end and destigmatize and actually seek out professionals that actually understand who we are and what we do. That's another issue that it is. When you go to a provider, do they understand us? I spend a lot of time trying to educate providers on how to meet us where we are, because that's a hard thing to do. That's a tall order and a huge ask for mental health professionals that aren't aware of really the impact of what it means to be Black in America. So yeah, I probably said a mouthful in like 5 minutes, but I'm more so just really passionate about the work that I do in public safety, but I'm also passionate about the work that I do in my community, in helping Black people as a whole create this mindset of taking care of ourselves from a mental health perspective, especially our Black men who oftentimes feel not only emasculated by society and by things that have happened to us historically, but just the way in which they have to navigate this world, the way in which they have to navigate the stereotypes and the stigmas, and do it in a way where you're lifted up and not torn down. So thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. Please do not go away. I am going to bring this up here 1 second. If you're just now tuning in, that was Dr. Carla Sutton Moore. And I ain't going to tell y'all who she is to me. I'm going to leave that a secret. But right now, we want to talk about this book for 1 second, and then we're going to bring up the second doctor. But Joe, for those who are just now tuning in, tell them one more time about Courtney B. Vance in this new book, The Invisible Ache.
Absolutely. Yes, The Invisible Ache. It is such a eye-opening book in terms of getting an insight in terms of the personal experience and the challenges that Black men face, specifically in terms of sharing their pain, sharing their concerns. And there's too many of us suffer in silence. And so it's just really unfortunate because there are lots of burdens that we all have to carry. And sometimes men are taught not to be able to share their burdens with everybody, not to be able to share their burdens with family. No man wants to be able to seem weak. And so, but sometimes you have life crises that occur and you have no foundation or basis to know how to deal with it. And so, as a consequence, so can it be death of your family member? It could be your parents. That's a hard thing for people to go over. But when you have even unexpected death in your family, be it a brother, sister, or relative, sometimes you don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to be able to share that. And you're supposed to be the strong one in the family, but who do you share your concerns with? You don't have an outlet for that. So you keep all of that inside. And unfortunately, everything we keep inside turns into energy. And that energy can go into our organs, into our body, and all those things. And we don't have an outlet that must be able to be expressed. And so that's what it goes into deep to understand. And Dr. Smith gives, the expert advice about how to be able to do that. And what does it take to allow somebody to open up? And so that's really a challenging thing for people. Of course, there are people in our, in us who are comfortable with therapy, but not everybody is. And so they're unwilling to be able to open themselves up. That was my brother-in-law family. We had therapy for him for 2 months, but he never told the truth to the therapist. And so the therapist didn't have an understanding or perception that he did have suicidal thoughts. So that was nothing she could address or say. So she was equally shocked, was a shame. And none of us ever consider it at all until the day before when he told my sister, this is the password to my 401k plan. And so that just, blew her mind, because he would never give that to her. And they were together for 25 years. And so she immediately called the therapist to say, hey, this is a problem. I'm concerned about it. And the therapist said, hey, I'll give him a call. And she did. And he said, hey, are you thinking about killing yourself? No. And she said he was going to see her that was a Tuesday. He was scheduled to see her on Friday. But unfortunately, he never made it to the visit because he planned it all to himself. We were only able to read things after the fact and be able to see where his thinking was, but his conversation was not positive. And so that was a challenge, because we couldn't imagine why you can't see some of these things shifting. We helped him get a new job. In fact, after many years, my sister was finally able to get pregnant. And unfortunately, no news was not good news. He didn't even take that as a positive. So that's what happens when people get in a unbalanced state where they cannot be able to easily evaluate things from a more positive point of view. And so it was been very trying for us. And of course, my family got our whole arms around my sister and family, because it was devastating to all of us. He had been a family member for over 25 plus years. So it was a true loss. But my sister, we encouraged her to immediately go to get grief counseling, which she did. There was no delay, because she knew she needed to have a positive attitude for the newborn to come into. And so that was excellent for her to get great guidance and move forward along the process. And so that was very helpful. And she's, continuing to move forward with that. So getting therapy at any challenge that you have with any type of crisis in your life is definitely worthwhile having. I had crisis in my life 30 plus years ago, and I, immediately went to a therapist and gave me great helpful insight to be able to get a handle on the things that I was experiencing. So not everybody has that mindset or attitude, but we want to encourage that by having a conversation that we're planning to have for this coming event.
And again, that event is December the 3rd. That is next Sunday, correct? And the time is 3 to 4:30 p.m. And that is with Dr. Courtney B. Vance. Well, I don't know about the doctor, but Courtney B. Vance. Let's bring, I was saying doctor because I'm trying to bring in this next doctor right here. And her name is Dr. Ericka Pinckney. Ericka, you heard what Joe just spoke on. I want you to introduce yourself and tell us about you and what you're doing. Why mental health? And then I want you to touch on what he just spoke about. How can we in our Black community, is there anything else they could have done? What is there any way or any signs or anything that we can look for to be able to detect these behaviors or what's going to happen next, so to say.
Sure. So thank you for having me again. It's an honor to be here. I'm Dr. Ericka Pinckney. I'm going to make this really quick because I'm watching the time. I am a clinical director in my full-time work. I work with adults in the mental health field, in the mental health world, people who have a range of diagnosis, who rely on community-based programming and things of that nature. And then I also have a part-time private practice. So I've been in practice 3 years. I've been in the field totally 21 years. And then I manage a website. I'm a co-founder of a website called Black Therapists of Central PA. And the mission behind that was very much what we're talking about tonight. How do we bridge the gap between community need and access? So many times we'll hear people say, how do I find a therapist, one who looks like me, one that I don't have to explain my whole life and culture to? I need to already have a head start on that. So we took that thinking and said, how do we create that? And that's what birthed Black Therapists of Central PA. Specifically when it comes to why mental health, why not mental health is what I always say, as Dr. Sutton mentioned earlier, we all have our specialties. If I injure my foot or if I hurt my back, I'm going to see the chiropractor. If I'm going to go get my hair right, I'm going to go to the stylist and the beauticians, all of these specialty points. But when it comes to our mental health, we sometimes want to put it on the back burner. For whatever reason, whether it's stigma, whether it's shame, whether it's guilt, people will judge me. I don't want anybody to think I'm crazy. We hear those kind of things all the time. So now it's like we're in this season of normalizing. I always say, get what you need and find your fit. So even when I hear Mr. Dudley speak around, the clinician and getting with the right person and how do we make sure that it's the right fit and what could we have done differently? And again, I know that's a sensitive question in itself. But I just wanted to say you have to be open and honest. I say it's like shopping. If I go into a store and I try something on, I'm like, it's not a good fit, then I'm going to leave it there, or I'm going to go and look somewhere else. You have to treat shopping for your mental health that same way, and give it a chance. Sometimes people get stage fright, just making that first phone call. All of the thoughts, am I being judged, and all of these different things. It's all important and it's relative, but we want to acknowledge it, that this is scary. It's new. Like just getting in front of that type of thinking to say, let's partner together. You're the expert of your own life. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. Let me hear from you. Those are going to be those things that I hear all the time are the most freeing. I don't want someone coming and telling me what I should or shouldn't. Okay, that comes with communication and relationship and all of that in the therapeutic relationship. But ultimately, you are the expert and we need you to be honest with us. Like you said, if you're not being honest with us when you come, then we can't help you with the true issues at hand. But that's not going to come until you find your person and you have that trust and rapport to be able to dig in and do that work. I call it that deep healing work that's necessary for people to grow and change. I encourage websites like ours, like I said, Black Therapists of Central PA, but on a global scale, you look at the world's bigger than Central Pennsylvania, but I love websites like Psychology Today, where you can put in your zip code, you can search for therapists by specialty, by their background, you can see profiles about that person. Another one that I really love is Black Men Heal. And some of the things that I hear a lot from, especially Black men, is I would do therapy, but I already have a mom, I already have a sister, I already have an aunt, and they're like, I have a lot of female feedback. And I'm like, let's acknowledge that though. And that's where even just having Black men at the table, therapists, professionals alike. You spoke earlier, Amanda, about the mentorship, the importance of mentorship. What does a strong, healthy person look like? Surrounding yourself to be able to see it. If you see it, you can envision it and you can do it. So I think that is very important when I hear about men's mental health is one, again, you may not sit across from another woman, but that's where that need, it's real about Black men as clinicians and the power that they have. To be able to help other Black men to sit across the room and look like them and want to hear from them. So I always am referring to colleagues of color that are Black men in particular, because it's just their voice. I respect their voice, and I love that it's a female, it's a very dominant, female dominant profession, but at the same time, that should not be, because that's not reflective of our society and having men at the table. If we're not careful, I said this to you, Cousin Amanda, on the phone, if we're not careful, there is an agenda to erase Black men. And if we don't give opportunities and lend space for what does Black men mental health, Black men wellness, Black men, what do we do? How do we move in life? If we don't create that space, the society we're living in now is not going to give that easily. So if we want it, we need to create it and make it feasible for those who want to tap in.
Wow, that is awesome. Carla, I want you to touch on that as well, as far as that Black male and erasing the Black male. And how do Black men come forth? Is there a way? I mean, because pride seems to take over our men, and then they're dealing with having to battle with that woman. What do they do when they have that strong Black woman? Is that a part of the mental health? What is going on in our community with the Black men, and how do we prepare for December 3rd? As we begin to, get ready, to close out tonight, and we want to get people's mind around, I want more of this. I need more conversations. I need to hear from Courtney B. Vance. I need that book. I want to know more. I want Carla to share her resources. Ericka, just share some amazing platforms where you can go and find help. Carla, touch on that a little bit more for us. And then Joe is going to share with us again about this event.
Gotcha. So to your point, I think, and Dr. Pinckney, you made a lot of valid points about just how in which we envision mental health and the paradigm shift. I think ultimately we have to look at it from a preventive wellness kind of, mindset, because that means we're trying to take care of ourselves holistically on the front end. Even Mr. Dudley kind of alluded to the fact that it takes on it will take a toll on your physical health when you're not taking care of yourself mentally. So we're saying we have all these GI problems or headaches, or we're constantly being sick, when in fact cortisol is tearing us up because stress is tearing away at us, which is what will happen if you have Black men that aren't expressive. The question you asked about, what happens with the Black man, Black woman. I mean, I think, truth be told, Black women are actually trying to become more assertive in the world of work, in the society, so on and so forth. And what that looks like is, we're gonna be expressive, right? I'm not saying that that's automatically the case, but it's more natural for us to do that, as opposed to our counterparts who may not be as expressive. So really, from a natural, just kind of what comes natural for someone to do when it comes to expression, men in general, like how does that play out when you're talking about your mental health? How does that play out when you're talking about the importance of your emotional and mental health from a preventive perspective? I mean, there are certain things that we try to tap into, from therapy to, again, working out. You have to do that as well when it comes to mental health. There are some resources that I shared with Amanda, but I also want to make sure that I say it out loud here. You have the Black Emotional and Mental Health trainings. It's called BEAM trainings. You have, she mentioned therapy for Black men. That's a website where you can find a provider specifically for you. You have Safe Black Space. So there are group seminars and workshops where you can go and express yourself and talk about the challenges of what it means to be a Black man in society. But again, that requires that you actually think about what it means to express yourself, not feel less of a person because you have these issues or these concerns, and destigmatize what it means. So having leaders that actually take the stand to actually make this a thing, this thing that's happening on December 3rd. I think there's a perfect platform to really say, hey, this is what we're talking about. We're going to normalize this because we need to get rid of the stigma. We need to make sure that people, Black men, are expressing themselves in a way that's healthy, natural, and normal.
Wow. That's amazing. And then I have to ask this question, Dr. Carla, Joe, before you go into that, because you have a practice as well. Can you share, or is she still here? Can you just share a little bit about your practice and what you do? Because someone may need that. And if you can let them know, how they can contact you.
So actually, I primarily contract with public safety agencies, and I provide services to those that work, first responders. But my specialty is trauma-based and informed care for Black police officers and Black firefighters who actually struggle at their agencies because of the job that they do. So imagine post George Floyd being a Black officer and you're like, nah, I understand what's going on in this community and blase, blase. And then you're still worried about your livelihood and keeping your job.
Right.
So that's been a hefty dynamic that I've had to take on in these recent years. But
So
I
then my
also
next
see,
question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I also see individual clients, but I contract mostly with agencies.
Gotcha. So my next question is, you're working with these firefighters and these police officers. I would love for you to share this event, this December 3rd event.
Absolutely.
To all these police officers and all of these firefighters, so that they can come out and hear from Courtney B. Vance and the crew, the team, Dr. What's her name, Joe? Robin Smith, and share this with them. If you could do that for us, I am going to send you another link for that, because I'll do that when we get off the air. And same question for you, Ericka, before, and we're going to let Joe finish up with this information. Dr. Ericka, can you tell us about your practice and how people, or is yours the same thing where you deal with government or contracts?
Well, my full-time is separate, so that's just a whole nother world. So
Right.
You'll get to me in that realm.
Right.
In my private practice consulting world, that I have a website, which is pinckneyprofessionalcounseling.com. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I see adults primarily. I spent a lot of years with the adolescent. I really like the adult population at this time. But our website, again, I always say I will connect you. If I'm not your person, I will connect you. And also I wanted to mention NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. I'm a board member here in Pennsylvania of our Dauphin County, but NAMI is National Alliance of Mental Illness. So that is a great resource as well when you're looking for publications around education, around different diagnosis and mental health and wellness and all that. I like to tap into. And sometimes people get caught up on the idea of cost. And, when we can get free resources in front of people to help to bridge that gap, that alone can be maybe just a couple more people that'll take that step just because we've removed that barrier.
Wow. Thank you so much. And I want to say, don't forget to share with your team, with your people, everybody that share this event. It's an awesome event. Joe is going to talk on that in a moment. And I just want to say to the people, for those of you who are tuning in, please tune into this event here on December 3rd. And just to touch on, I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in. Dina Jones, I like therapy for Black girls. Awesome. Okay. Deborah Jackson, Truth Prison System and the grave. And she said, what's lacking is spirituality. That's what she says. Thank you, Stephanie, for tuning in. Thank you, Deborah, for tuning in. Thanks, Dina, for tuning in. Those of you, please check out the links, register for the event. Ulysses, thank you for tuning in. Paula, thank you for tuning in. All of you guys, Donna, thank you for tuning in. Joe, can you please talk on this event? Let these people know, we have the link that's in the comments. Please click on the link. And Joe, can you close us out a little bit with the event? I knew you would take up all the time today. No, I'm joking.
Hey, it wasn't me. It was you. So we're doing just fine. We're doing just fine. Loving the conversation. This is the kind of conversation we will have for this event. Unique, would love for you to be able to put that link in the chat once again for those people who are new to our conversation here. And I love, Carla, you are dealing with black male depression and the challenges that people face. And the one comment I want to add before going to the event is that, hey, obviously, there's some discomfort and people do want to talk to family, but not every Black man is not ready to open up to their family members. Mm-hmm. And so what is part of it is that so even though you want to encourage them to talk to you, you may not be the right person for them to talk to. So it's up to you to be able to encourage them and help them go online and help find somebody who might be a good fit for them to talk to. As long as they're open, but they may not make the time to act. So that's what you have to be a part of. Hey, let me help you find somebody that you can feel comfortable talking to and encourage them to open up. And so that's what you have to do in that process. And sometimes that might take, a month. It might take 3 months. before they finally take. But if you say, hey, I will help you find somebody if you're open to it, that is a wonderful, important thing to do. So that's where not everybody's willing to open up to you. Don't blame them. Don't shame them. Oh, I'm your woman. I'm your mother. You can tell me everything. They're not ready to tell you everything. Okay? And so do not take that personally. Allow them to be able to flesh out their experiences with somebody else where they feel it can be private and that they can do it. And in reality, even, talking to a therapist, it takes 2, 3, 4 times meeting them and talking to them before they're comfortable sharing their real truth. So it's a patient process, but you want to be supportive and encouraging them to be able to open up to do that. And I find that to be very impactful, very powerful. And, I know that from personal experience. So I'm pleased to have this opportunity to share this event with you, to share the event with the audience. Love for you to be able to click on the link in the chat. It may not be hyperlinked, so you may have to copy and paste and put it into the thing, but that's what it looks like. HPPS, Vance Smith, authortalk.eventbrite.com, /AF, that's, BGB. That BGB stands for Black Girl Beauty. So want to be able to take care. And if you see at the bottom, we have NAMI Philadelphia actually being one of our presenters of the program, which was just mentioned about. So we want you to be able to come. We'll have Courtney B. Vance, award-winning actor, and Dr. Robin L. Smith, renowned psychologist, leading us in this conversation about what they discovered and the insights that they have dealing with Black male depression. Obviously, Dr. Robin has dealt with it professionally. Courtney B. Vance has seen the devastation and impact in his own family as it relates to Black male depression. And so it'll be myself and Nisha Smith. You can see her, Nisha Stringfellow, be able to speak on this with them, along with the host, Dwayne Reed. And we'll be having a thorough, insightful conversation and be able to learn from them of their experience and to be able to learn what we can do to be able to help and support the Black men in our families and in our community to be able to move forward. So the more people that we have in attendance, the more powerful it will be. So we want you to be able to take the link, go ahead and register now, because it's only 5 days away. Only 5 days away for our registration to be able to go forward. So we want you to be able to do that and come and be a part of this live conversation.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And I want to have some last words from the doctors, and then we're going to bring Joe back up, and then I'm going to close out because I have one more thing that I want to share with you guys before you guys all leave. February 3rd, I want each one of you to put this on your calendar. I am celebrating my 45th year in business. Absolutely. 45 years in Atlanta. I want all of you there. Ericka, come on up from Pennsylvania. Carla, you're right here in Georgia. Mr. Dudley, I need you to be in the house. Bring the whole family. Bring mama, bring papa, bring everybody. I want everybody in the house. Most importantly, you guys, I want to tell you about Black Girl Beauty School of Careers. We have an apprenticeship school. We are training kids ages 16 to 24 to get out here and get a job. They don't have to go to McDonald's. They don't have to go to Burger King's and Chick-fil-A. We have it right here at Black Girl Beauty School of Careers where they can earn while they learn. And we'll speak more on that next week. But Dr. Ericka, if you can say one more thing, what can you share with anybody, any young person entering the field of mental health? What can you share with them? What advice can you give them? Give them a tip.
I would say make sure that you align your passion with your profession. That is very important. So I would say, again, make sure you have a good mentor. That was already mentioned earlier. Don't bet against yourself. Bet on yourself. Believe in yourself. You have to believe and be the first person to cheer for yourself, because your cheering squad might get smaller and smaller. Your circle will change and evolve as you grow, and that's okay, as long as you're moving in the right direction. So believe in yourself, keep faith, and that's what I would say. Keep your circle small when necessary. Again, grow where you need to, network, but also keep your circle small. Make sure you have a good idea about the people that are in your circle, because you don't want negative people trying to discourage you from your dream and vision. So stay focused and believe in yourself and keep God first.
Awesome. And what's that website where people can visit your website?
My website is pinckneyprofessionalcounseling.com. And then our website for the therapist connection is Black Therapist of Central PA.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Dr. Sutton Moore, can you give us one tip? What tip can you give to these young people who may be thinking about pursuing mental health?
I say make mental health wellness a part of your life. Make it part of your daily regimen. Make it part of what you talk about on a day-to-day basis to your family, friends, and loved ones. You have to engage in self-love and self-care in order to stay mentally healthy.
That is amazing. And the name of your website, how can they get to your website?
www.mooretolifecc, that's MOORETOLIFECC.com, More to Life, like my last name, no pun intended. MoreToLifeCC.com.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Ericka, as well, for joining us. And then we have Joe Dudley Jr. You are amazing. You are the $1 million Black business strategist. And I want to know, the people want to know, how do they become a member, and what are they going to get if they become a member of the Dudley Eagles Mastermind Group?
Well, great. Well, the first step is to join our email list. And when you put that in the chat, that would be great. And you get a chance to come to our events on Sundays, be able to learn about it. We also offer our membership kit. And in that membership kit, you get a number of great resources, including you're able to get our entrepreneurial checkup assessment. And in that report, we do 5 assessments that will help identify your entrepreneurial strengths, your weaknesses, your approach to work, and really give a good 360 understanding of where you succeed best. So that way you can be in the business that fits you best. And more importantly, it tells how to manage the people in your environment so that you are picking people who belong on your business team and not pick the wrong person on your team as well. Along with that, you get a 1-hour coaching session from me, where I'm able to give you feedback from the assessment, as well as be able to help you map on the best next steps to build and grow your business. So that's a part of it. You also get great motivational books that come along with it, including my father's book that you see right over my back of my head. It's called Walking by Faith, I Am, I Can, and I Will. And you get several other books that you're able to get, including my own book, What's My E-Style? Discovering your entrepreneurial personality for outstanding business success. You get great audios from my father who are highly motivational. And you also get an opportunity to be a part of a great network of people to help build out and grow. Because indeed, the value of having a great network is that they will open doors for you that you can't open by yourself, and create and present opportunities to you that you didn't even know what's happening. I'm the beneficiary of that. Doing the program allowed me to be able to have this great connection to offer this great event with Courtney B. Vance. And you can have similar opportunities as well when you're able to grow and expand your network. So we offer that to you. First step, join the email list. We'll put it right there in the chat. And that way you can get an invitation and come to our event, and you'll get a chance to learn even more.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for your time and for your giving of yourself. I really appreciate having you all on. It has indeed been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. I am Black Girl Beauty Coach Amanda Manigaults, and I would like to say good night to each and every one of you. Don't forget, I will be sending you all an email. Thank you. I love you all.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you all again. Don't forget to register for that event. All right? Have a good one.
Take care.
All right.